Okay, we're going to try this, see how this works. So today I want to talk a little bit about how I do audio for these one-shot live and acoustic videos. So what I've got right here is one of the videos that I recently did with John and Valerie Guerra. And so what happened here is we kind of showed up on this lake, Great Lake as a matter of fact, and saw this storm coming in, and it was getting dark, and we decided to just kind of take one take of this song before everything went to hell in a handbasket. And so we jumped out of the car, and there were all these big rocks that you never really see in this video, but everyone's standing on like these boulders, which if you've ever been to the coast, sometimes they have these like seawall sort of, I don't know what they are, but it's where you have like big 4-foot rocks all stacked up that go down into the water. And so there are all these big cracks in between them, and so we were kind of waiting and hoping someone didn't break an ankle. So we put 2 mic stands on the flattest rock we could find, and then we run our audio cables into a Zoom H6. Normally what we would do is we'd run one large diaphragm condenser microphone for each vocal if we can, and these are MXL, I believe they're 770s. Excuse me, they're like $75 on Amazon right now, which is ridiculous because they sound really good. And then normally we would run a small diaphragm condenser for the guitar, which you can see here, which is on another little boom arm. But unfortunately, since we were in such a rush and it was so windy there, we were worried that this was just going to be a waste of time. So we didn't bother plugging it in because we didn't want to take the time. So it's there, but it's not doing anything. So we have a direct line from John's guitar into our H6. And normally we would run both. You just, for variety, you do the mic and the direct line. So I just realized there's one other part of this which I forgot to mention, which is how we actually set up the H6. And basically the goal is just to get a clean track that doesn't clip. So when we're going to do a song, I will ask the band to basically skip to whatever the biggest thing is, and then I'll go through all the tracks and check our levels and make sure that we're setting everything with a little bit of room, so that nothing's blowing out and clipping when they get to the big parts. And thankfully the H6 is clean enough that when we kind of compress up the low parts and whatnot, we don't really end up with any issues. But that's the main goal, and I find that people always sound check a little quieter than they actually perform, so I usually give myself a little extra room on these tracks. So the levels on the low parts are really low, but you really kind of have to set it for the big parts, and then let your audio guy take care of that. So that's that. Run everything into that, make sure they clap every take, and then you end up with a multi-track of all of your stuff here. So we have isolated one vocal, this is a guitar, this is the other guitar track, and then this is the other vocal. So then I take all of these, I'll sync them up with the video and throw a quick grade on it, and I will take a clip of it entirely unmixed and export it excuse me, and send it to Joel Russo, who is my sound guy. And then the other thing that I will do is, once you have everything all synced up in here, we'll go export OMF out of here. So file, export, well, let me do it for some reason. Let's see if I go to another one. This one still has the raw audio in it, OMF. And then this is how I have that set up, 4800, 24 bits per sample, separate audio broadcast wave. Excuse me, this costs ridiculous. So I'll export that, hit go, and what it does is, within your folder here, you'll get an export of all those audio tracks. So now they're trimmed to kind of more or less length of the song. I'll upload this multi-track into Dropbox for Joel, and he downloads that, does his magic to it, and kind of compresses it, EQs it, whatever else, and sends it back to me. And so that is where I will then get a final mix track, like one of these mixed in with weird Premiere files. And so once we have that, what we will do is drop it back into here, sync it back up, and then you have a final export that you're able to do. So you can see some of these. you know, like these are raw tracks, and then I have the mix in here as well. And then you export the whole thing at the end of the day. So that's kind of the workflow. The only other real thing for me to do is titles and grading. So Jonathan Reynolds does all my titles. So we design something, really he designs something, and I say that's pretty. He shoots it back to me all in Dropbox. I'll drop all of that into here, throw some Gorilla Grain on it, and go to town in Lumetri and try and make it look pretty. So that's more or less the process. The problem with these kinds of microphones is you have to be careful about wind noise, and you have to be careful about people popping them. So that's where sometimes we had a few people who are having issues with that, so we had to throw pop filters on them. But aesthetically, I like to avoid the pop filters if we can. So yeah, it's really simple. I don't even bring mic stands. I just flew with Easy Rig, these mics, H6, and one lens. I generally shoot everything on either my 28 or my 35. And it's a pretty simple solution. And the real key is honestly what Joel does, because getting those levels dialed in and whatnot, you know, all from one take really separates it from just a big messy thing. So thanks for watching.